What is up? Welcome to Five Stars, 5 Points, the best in college football analysis. I'm your host, Spread Astaire, joined by the man with the college knowledge, Five Star. How are things going down in sunny Las Vegas for you, Five Star?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Great to be back with you, Spread. We took a week off with college football last week. The only game that was going on was Army and Navy. As we talked about over text, I don't really like betting the service schools too much because very hard to cap when both teams are so familiar with each other. And as you saw what happened with the results on that, Army lost a lot of people money because a lot of people took the over and Army and ended up Navy won straight out and it went under. So, it's a tricky game. We stayed away from it. We took a break, enjoyed the family last week. Now we're ready to get back to our favorite time of the year, man, bowl season.
Yeah, we took a break, but the news cycle did not. And I can't wait to talk to you about this one. So let's just jump right into it. I mean, this is the news that the whole college football world is talking about. So I have to know, what are your thoughts on Travis Hunter decommitting from FSU and signing with Jackson State?
Man, what Dion pulled off is landmark. He's the perfect guy to shake up the system. Prime time has an effect on kids that few can match. He's the standard for cool in the sports. The guy was before his time in his ability to market himself and develop his brand. He's a great father, strong in his beliefs. So I'm sure coming into homes, he's going to have everyone's attention. He's going to have the mother smiling. She probably looked in love with him when he was playing for the Cowboys. You know what I mean? The dad probably wanted to be like him when he was playing for the Braves. So he's more relatable and more of a star, which are two things that rarely go together than most in college football. I can't think of anyone who can really compete with him as far as him being a face. The man is unbelievable in all he's done. And the great thing what I always liked about Dion is he's born with all this natural talent, but everyone from that's played with him, his ex teammates, and people who worked with him also when he was broadcasting. I would say that Primetime was one of the hardest workers they've ever met. It's few to have that type of talent, then can also put in the consistent work. Um, Man, Dion is just what he's doing, man. He's changing the game, man. Florida State, I'm sure they regret, not giving him any serious consideration when he attempted to get that job. I'm sure SMU is regretting it too. Um, he has the number one overall recruit in all of college football going over to an HBCU team. That's major, man. Flip him on top of that from the school that he started at, and also that he was attempting to become the coach. It's the ultimate dig. Only Deion Sanders can pull off something like that. And I'm looking forward to see if over the next few years, if he stays with the program and continues to grow what he's building right now, because his son is the quarterback was highly rated as well. And if he continues to build and grow, does he jump ship and go to a place where he can have more effect with the big boys? But I love to see him stay in Jackson State. The problem is this with HBCUs and even with the kid Travis Hunter coming over, he's going to be limited in his exposure as far as in what he can do, and I'm sure that's part of the plan. But Travis Hunter playing at the HBCU, the HBCUs, the MEAC conference and SWAC conference both have a deal with the Celebration Bowl, which is held as the Black National Championship. You could say that's what they call it. And when they play this bowl, it's because of the money, of course. With those type of schools, funding is they're very underfunded. Excuse me. So they get paid $1 million, the winner and their crown. I'd love to see them get out of that deal. Hopefully, Dion is wise enough to figure a way to get out of that deal in the future. Get back to having these HBCUs competing first of all with the FCS schools first, playing teams like James Madison, teams like North Dakota State, South Dakota State. Because before this deal with the Celebration Bowl, they did. I remember fondly back in the mid '90s, Steve McNair, who's still the all-time FCS, pardon me, passing leader. He has the most yards in the history of FCS football. Playing in the playoffs against Youngstown State, who was dominant at the time in college football in their division. And he threw the ball 82 times, put up a great show, great showing. I'd love to see the SWAC start by jumping back into the playoffs in the FCS, man, and that would allow with Dion starting to actually grow more because now they can first conquer the FCS schools, the big FCS schools, and then graduate to playing FBS, and that has to be the ultimate goal. Most people they get these type of jobs, but Dion has to strictly um, to as a job to get to the next bigger job. I'm really hoping that the seeds he's playing, he plans on staying there and watching them grow. It would be very interesting to see, over the next 5 years or so, with him continue to snatch players. Did you know, spread that Little Jackson State, little small HBCU Jackson State has a higher ranked recruiting class coming in this year than USC? What do you think about that as a California guy?
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of was going to be my next question here. I wanted to ask you really just a quick follow up. How do you think? So, obviously, a lot of this had to do with the NIL and the fact that going there, he was able to get the money from Barstool Sports. Of course, they haven't officially commented, but we can all read between the lines. The
Right.
SEC has dominated college football for the last 10 years. Do you think the introduction of the NIL kind of levels the playing field? I mean, they got money in Los Angeles. They got money in Texas, right? Do you think this maybe is the end of the SEC's dominance with the new era ushered in by the NIL?
It's about willing and dealing now, man. It's pretty much we already know it's been semi-pro football forever. They've been
Yeah.
paying kids on the tables, cutting deals. Dion got paid in the early '80s. We all know that. Like
Yeah.
Michael Irvin and him were wearing minks, going to class in Mercedes and stuff. And of course, they just funneled it through different ways. Now it's with the NIL, it's legal. Like you said, Dion pulled a shrewd business move and was able to compensate Travis Hunter more than Florida State obviously was, and he was able to pull off the deal. And we're going to see more of that. I heard that Texas is offering their offensive lineman $5,000 to come there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going like say LA. Hey, come on, man. USC has so much money; they could probably cut those through some deals. All they have to do is get the right film producer that's an alumni, and
Yeah.
set up the kid's future career acting or something, and they'll get everybody, man. So it's gonna be a brand new playing field. I'm happy for the kids, man, because it's a lot of BS that we've all been playing around with over the years. I'm glad that a lot of things are coming to light now that were in the dark for so long. Like these kids have been getting paid, man. They've been, getting the little, secret shakes and things like that. And it's all right, man, because these schools are making billions off of them every
Yeah.
year. There's a lot of universities that are carried strictly by football programs, man, or basketball programs. So it's about time that these kids got paid, and it's all about parenting and mentorship, man. With the right people around them, they'll teach those kids how to use that early start to invest in other things and do something good with it. Everyone's so worried about them making money, man. It's nothing wrong to me with making money early. It's like the quick you start making money, it'll be better, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it levels the playing field and makes it not just an SEC national champion every year, as well as give these kids a little taste of the $1 billion being produced, I'm all for it. So, one of the ways that the $1 billion is produced is through these bowl games. So, I got to ask you, what is your favorite bowl matchup that's been announced so far?
Oh man, no doubt it's going to be Michigan versus Georgia in the national semifinals. I'm very interested to see how Georgia responds after coming down to earth and watching their big brother smack them around again. We did real well off of that one. We enjoyed that one, right?
Yeah.
Alabama paid us pretty good on that one, spread it 2-1. Like I said, we'd rather see that again. Actually, though, in the uh, play of the week that's coming up, we actually got another 2-1 that's coming up, but it's a different division. But getting back to that matchup, I look forward to Georgia, Michigan. Man, you got two teams with a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball, all types of NFL talent. Uh, I'm very interested to see Jim Harbaugh now gets an opportunity at the second place SEC team. The Big Ten hasn't done well against the SEC in the past. I'm actually looking forward to Michigan competing hard. I actually already took them. I took the initial number that came out, the +8.5, and I took the +290. Definitely was a good investment, I believe. I believe that's great value on two evenly matched teams that pretty much mirrors of each other. That's why I'm very interested to see what happens in that matchup. Both are led by defenses. Both have a great running attacks, and both have pretty average quarterbacks. So it's going to boil down to two good defenses going against each other, and which one of those mediocre quarterbacks can make the best plays. And I trust Cade McNamara just a little bit more than I trust Stetson Bennett. I think that the Michigan defense is going to have a field day with Stetson Bennett, and I actually think Michigan will pull out the upset. But I'm very interested to see this game. It's exciting to me. You won't see so many pros on the field at one time on both teams, man.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh's first appearance on the big stage in a while. Let's see how his team responds, and let's go to the opposite side of the spectrum. What do you think is the worst upcoming bowl matchup?
I'm not going to even talk about it. All I'm going to say is Old Dominion versus Tulsa. Uh, I haven't capped Tulsa all year. They're one of the most difficult teams to cap. They go into games and play just above their head against teams like Ohio State and are in the game until the fourth quarter, and then go in conference against teams and lose by 20. So I don't like capping them. Old Dominion is a former FCS school that came up and playing with the big boys. They've had some upsets this year, like Louisiana Tech. But the name said itself. I'm sorry to all the alumni from both schools. You guys watch and support this show, but you guys will be the only one at that game or watching that game or betting that game. And that's Old Dominion versus Tulsa, man.
All right. Well, you mentioned betting, and that's what the people are here for. So let's get into giving out some winners. The first game we wanted to talk about, Appalachian State is going to play Western Kentucky. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, this game is going to be a very early start, man. 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be West Kentucky and Appalachian State facing off in the Boca Raton Bowl. This appears to be one of the better gifts we're going to get this Christmas from the bookmakers. I like Appalachian State for many reasons in this game. First of all, they have the better team. They have a much more complete team. The Mountaineers have faced much stiffer competition than the Hilltoppers have. App State actually plays defense. They're number 2 nationally in tackles for losses. The Mountaineers defense ranks top 20 in the country in total losses, total defense and scoring defense, pardon me. While West Kentucky's defense, they haven't performed well lately, spread. They gave up 300 yards rushing to a fairly average UTSA team last week, or week before last in the USA Conference USA Championship. The Mountaineers running game is a lot more complex and difficult to contain. They got 3 running backs that all have a chance of playing at the next level. Daytrick Harrington, Cameron Peoples, Nate Noel. And I think they're going to take turns, man, running all over the Western Kentucky team. This is a numbers nerd game. For the guys who love stats and love numbers, they're going to take West Kentucky, and that's probably why the numbers stay steady, because they're 8-4 against the spread. But spread, I bet sports a little bit different. I do care about analytics. It definitely makes a difference. But my main factor is my eyes. I scout these teams. I watch them all year. I don't take a break off. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my favorite days to watch football. And I love these mid-major teams. And I've seen Western Kentucky in action. They're very soft on the defensive line. The teams that they went 8-4 against are teams like Rice, Charlotte, Old Dominion, Middle Tennessee State, Florida International. So how much do we put into those numbers? Okay, this is a major step up in competition for the Hilltoppers. Another thing to watch in this game is Western Kentucky's conference MVP quarterback, Bailey Zapp. He has an opportunity to break the NCAA single season passing record. He only needs 289 yards to pass to cover the mark, which is very doable. But he also needs 5 touchdown passes to break Joe Burrow's record of 60 in the season. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on him to try to break those records. But more than that, I believe Appalachian State's prideful defense is going to be aware of the goals that he's trying to reach, and they're not going to want to be the team that he reaches those expectations against. The Mountaineers ranked 12th in pass efficiency defense, as well as top 10 in interceptions and defensive touchdowns. They're 15th ranked in the red zone. They're just a good defense, man. They're solid. They have a lot of pride. You take out their loss to in a last-minute loss to Miami, and 2 losses against a very good Louisiana Lafayette team, and they haven't lost to anyone else. They've beaten all competition, and most of the games haven't been close, and their defense has been dominant. I know that this is a sucker number with the -3, but we're going to be square this week, man. We're heavy on Appalachian State. They're a far better team, and also I'm hearing that It's going to be windy in Florida on Saturday morning. For our sake, we hope it gets a little gusty, and it's a little bit difficult for Mr. Zapp to make some passes, and it makes it a little bit easier for Appalachian State to control him. I don't see him getting the 5 touchdown pass he needs. Maybe in jump time he does catch up to 289, but we're all over Appalachian State -3.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. Wind, I think, is the toughest of all the weather, right? I think it's worse than the snow and the rain. We saw that 2 Monday nights ago
Oh
when the
my
Bills took on
God.
the Patriots, right? How it can
I
completely
had
change a
Josh
game.
Allen was my fantasy quarterback that night, man. And look, we're in the playoffs now. Just getting off topic real quick since you brought that up. That game was a nightmare. Just my luck. I have the night. Okay, Josh Allen he's my top scorer on my fantasy football team besides Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has been amazing, but I could always count on him and Josh Allen to come through for me. My running backs are terrible this year, and this is a league that I go back, man, like 13 years with these guys. We're all like high school buddies and stuff, so it's a lot of bragging rights in this league. It's a pretty big win too. We all put up $1,000 to get in each year, so this is big to us, right? I got Josh Allen, man. He's on a bad ankle playing at home this week against Carolina, the first week of the playoffs. The next week, guess who he has? New England Patriots in Boston. It's probably gonna be they're gonna turn on the weather machine up there, and it's probably gonna be a blizzard. So I'm not looking too good on that, man. You talking about win? Yeah, we're expecting the win to be a factor in that game in the Boca Raton Bowl because Florida's windy place, especially in the mornings. If you've been to Florida like we both have, gets pretty windy, man, in that area. And they're saying right now 14 to 15 mile per hour winds.
All right, so the pick is Appalachian State, a -3. Let's go on to the FCS playoffs. You mentioned the FCS earlier, of course, with Jackson State making the huge splash in college football. Now it's time to turn our eyes to the FCS playoffs. James Madison, +185 on the money line, +5 on the point spread. What are your thoughts on this game against North Dakota State?
First of all, I love the FCS. As you know, I went to Grambling State University, man, so I'm a proud FCS man. Some of the best football players that we've seen in the NFL have came from FCS schools, man. I'm talking about from Doug Williams, Bob Lanier, Charlie Joyner, Tank Younger. You can go on and on for days. Everson Walls, with the great players that have came about, from the FCS school. So much props to them. I love betting them, and I was able to really get an advantage leading into this fall with them playing spring ball and getting the sole eye on them. Last spring with everyone out with COVID and stuff, I was able to see what a lot of teams were going to have for the fall, and it's benefited as well. Last week we cashed with James Madison at home. They covered against a good, Montana team, man. They dominated them actually 28-6. This week, the Dukes traveled to probably the most famous FCS school, North Dakota State. They're the Bison, as me and John Granada spoke about this morning. If you ever met any of the North Dakota State folks, they'll quick to tell you it's with a Z. It's Bison, not Bison. So they face the Bison, man. The Bison have great players. Carson Wentz and Trey Lance who went there, man. They have an unbelievable dynasty going right now and a cult-like following with their fans, and I can see why their fans love them so much. They've won 8 of the last 9 FCS championships because I don't really count the spring title that Sam Houston snuck in this past spring just because a lot of players were sitting out and things were off schedule. But in a regular calendar, the Bison have ruled the FCS, man. Their dynasty is one of the most impressive in sports. The only team to win a title in their decade of dominance actually is James Madison. The Dukes won the chip in 2016. And I believe now 5 years later that they have a chance to do this again. James Madison is just a much more balanced team than North Dakota State is this year. They have Cole Johnson, who's an excellent quarterback, man, for them. He's has 39 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, man. I mean, I don't care what level you play on. That's very impressive. He reminds me a little bit of old Danny Dimes with the Giants because he has great straight line speed, man. He can run the read option with the best of them. If he gets to going straight, man, he has some wheels, man. He's tough too. He's thrown over 3 times the yards of Bison's first year full-time starter, Cam Miller. Cam Miller got a little play last year. He split time with a guy that they had from Iowa State, Zeb Nolan, I believe is his name. He went to transfer this year to South Carolina. He's like one of those 7-year senior guys. And he was the quarterback last year, but Cam Miller got some play. Kind of in the mold of Trey Lance, a poor man's Trey Lance, athletic, pretty smart with the ball, but he's limited though, man. And the offense that their coach runs makes him even more limited. Um, I mean, both teams have lockdown defenses, but James Madison has playmakers on offense that North Dakota State just doesn't. They got playmakers on the outside in the backfield. Excuse me. North Dakota State just still they play real old school football, man. Just like the Patriots are playing lately, like they played in that game we spoke of. They're just lining up three tight ends, two tight ends. Blocking on the edge of smash mouth. Not too creative in their play calls. And also, I don't see too many outside threats that North Dakota State has. James Madison has a real tough run defense. They're going to slow down the Bison's predictable running attack, and they're going to force Cam Millen to make some plays, man. And James Madison's defense leads the nation in turnovers. They get to the quarterback. They're one of the top teams in sacks. They just have playmakers everywhere on offense and defense, man. And I expect it to show up in this game. They're just a little bit faster, a little bit more athletic, but they're just as tough as North Dakota State, and that's the difference. They have a weapon, Antoine Wells. He's going to play at the next level. He's a receiver. He's a real difference maker, man. I believe the Dukes can get him in a position against the Bison's weaker nickel corners. They have some short, not too athletic guys that they put in on third and fourth receivers. I'm sure that they're going to move around Wells Jr., put him in the slot a little bit and get him on top of some guys. And he'll be able to make some plays in a game that's going to be very hard to come by when it comes to points. So we're taking James Madison to pull what the odds makers will have you believe is an upset. This line is all based on North Dakota State's dominance over the last decade of what they used to be. They still are a stout team, but they're playing a 1990s football against a real tough team that's caught up in playing 2021 football, but has the grit and toughness to match up with them in the trenches. Over the years, what the Bison have lived on, man, is being able to just out tough you. They line up mano a mano, beat you in the trenches, run it down your throat, dare you on defense to run the ball on them. They're not going to be able to do this. Cole Johnson is going to be a difference maker. The receiving talent that James Madison has is going to really show up in this game. So we're going to take James Madison plus 185. As I told you, we're almost in a situation like Alabama where we have the better team at almost 2-1. Anytime you do that, it's called a value bet, guys. And value is what you're looking for when you're betting these games. Don't always think that you have to lay minus 110. Sometimes the books are tricking you, man, and you have to have enough sense to know when you're dealing with the best team to take advantage of them when they're lacking in these numbers, and they're lacking this week. This is all because of North Dakota State has an unbelievable following. They're going to have a lot of people flying in town to bet them big just because they've came through for their fans in the past, but they won't be coming through this week. We're going with James Madison plus 185, and we'll take the plus 5. If you guys can find the 5.5, buy up a half point to 6 because that's always a key number.
All right. So the two plays this week, Appalachian State -3 and the 5-star pick of the week. Go ahead and take James Madison plus 185 and plus 5. 5-star. Do you have anything more for the people before we sign off?
Oh yeah, man. You guys just continue to tune in. Be looking to have a new show that's going to come out. Spread's going to definitely be involved. We're going to be doing on Schoon TV. It's going to be called The Wagering World. I'll be dropping information on my Twitter at 5-star in Vegas. Spell out the 5, please. I'll be dropping information about when you can catch the first episode of that. Still every Thursday on 97.5 Houston. I was on this morning and gave out these 2 games. You can catch me every time at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's the best time of the year, guys. The season, we watch this football and we bet it all season just to get to this point of the year where we get the best teams against each other and a whole year worth of information to use to our advantage. We look forward over these next couple of weeks to get this money on these bowl games, guys.
Yep, bowl season is here, and we've got 2 winners to get you guys started right. So we will be back next week with more bowl winners. But until then, thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll